Turn it up. It's The Record Machine with your host, Jimmy Howe.
I am a legend, I'm told. I've been around the world. Maybe I'm hip, maybe I'm just
I'm glad you're still here.
come from all around to see my fits of rage. I am a legend, I'm told. I've been around the world. Maybe I'm hip, maybe I'm just too old. When I feel like walking away, there's something making me stay. I'm feeling like I might be on the verge of something cool. It keeps me feeling alive. There's fire in my eyes. It's running through my veins like gasoline. That you know, my life's an open book. I'm sure you've seen my show. They say I'm not very sane. I guess that might be true. I'm crazy rich. Well, ain't that just a shame? When I feel like walking away, there's something making me stay. I'm feeling like I might be on the verge of something cool. It keeps me feeling alive. There's fire in my eyes. It's running through my veins like gasoline. Shiny patent leather. And when that day comes, I'll go down in history forever. I am the man on the stage. They come from all around to see my fits of rage. When I feel like walking away, there's something making me stay. I'm feeling like I might be on the verge of something cool. It keeps me feeling alive. There's fire in my eyes. It's running through my veins like gasoline. Like gasoline. It ain't like nothing you ever seen. Keeps me feeling alive. There's fire in my eyes. It's running through my veins.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Billy DiNapoli. So how you doing, Billy?
I'm doing good, buddy. Doing good.
You've been in the business 35 years now. At what age did you decide to play guitar? And how did you wind up taking lessons from Chris Risola of Steelheart?
Well, let's see. I was probably almost 12 years old. And I was in a music store and taking lessons, and my buddy was taking lessons, and we just started. We're probably like a couple months from our 12th birthdays. And he didn't like the guy at the music store that we were taking lessons at, and he said, hey, I was referred. I forget who referred him, but he went and said, I took lessons from this guy. He's super cool. He's sick. Oh, my God. He plays like Van Halen and Bye and blah, blah, blah. And I said, all right, so I followed him, a childhood friend of mine. I followed him to those lessons. And as it turned out, this childhood friend, he didn't exactly pursue guitar much further after that, because I guess maybe he didn't feel like he was excelling at it as much. And then I stayed with Chris from 12 years old until he was too busy touring with Steelheart to give me lessons, where I was about 18 or 19. And by then, I started playing at 14 nightclubs. By the time 4 or 5 years later, I'd probably already played, hundreds of shows.
Wow.
In the New York City, New York, New Jersey, Boston, Mass, that 4-state radius of New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New Jersey. And then while I was at my lesson, I met this guy named Paul Nelson. He was taking a lesson there too. Mm-hmm. And he said, hey, you could just start taking, you could start coming to me and I'll give you lessons. And Paul Nelson ended up, if you don't know who he is, he used to be in a heavy metal band called Liege Lord. They're a little bit heavier than our genre, more thrashy. And honestly, that really wasn't his style, but he wanted to get on some vinyl. And then he ended up going on to playing with the Johnny Winter Band and actually recorded the last 3 albums of Johnny Winter's career before he died, including the last one, which featured Joe Bonamassa and Eric Clapton on it. And Paul won a Grammy for his not only playing on the album, but for producing it. Wow. And he actually won a Grammy this was probably 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Johnny died. But Paul has remastered and reissued all of Johnny Winter's past records, as well as the 3 albums that he played on. And Paul is actually currently signed to Sony Records, touring the entire world under the Paul Nelson Band moniker. And he's got a great album out on Sony Records right now. But that was the guy that took over for Chris when Chris was on tour with Steelheart. And Paul actually was Steve Vai's roommate in Berkeley.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Now, are you still in touch with Chris at all? Do you talk to him at all, or?
I am in touch. I'm in touch with both of those guys. Yes, I spoke to Chris a couple weeks ago, actually.
Cool.
Are
they still playing?
Chris had some help. Chris Steelheart is still together. Michael has the band, but it's a whole different bunch of guys. You're probably aware of that. But Chris actually recorded an album with a band called Sweet Blood about, I want to say, 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And they were kind of Alice in Chainsy, and he was doing a mini tour with them. But then, Chris was back in Steelheart probably from 2009 to 2015, or 2010 to 2015 touring. Mm-hmm. But Chris has actually had some health issues, and he's not currently active, but he's hoping to get back. So without saying anything further, Chris has had a health setback, which has prohibited him from being able to play right now. But he's hoping for a full recovery.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So you have 3 full-length studio albums. Aftermath you did in 2003, and then Fool's Faith in 2007. And currently your band is called Wild America. Can you talk about Wild America and your debut album with them? Well,
actually, Wild America, the singer Joe Labbadia, he did all those albums with me.
Really?
Aftermath was a band that we were a club band and we were doing showcases, and that album was actually recorded in 1998. Wow. We shopped it to every record company imaginable. And then we got contacted by Escape Music, which is still around. They're a good label, but at the time, they were working under the umbrella of Sony.
Okay.
I remember the few commission checks we did get said Sony Entertainment on the top of it, and they produced the album and issued it worldwide. But it was it was being put out at a time when our type of music wasn't exactly hot and didn't do as well as we'd liked it to. It was released around the world, and we did okay. I think when we were playing a lot back then, I think we probably sold 1,000 copies ourselves, not to mention what it sold on its own. Mm-hmm. But, so we got dropped by the label after that album. And keep in mind, they found that album 4 years after we shopped it and sent it out everywhere. They called us, and at the time, we weren't even playing.
Wow.
We reassembled because they said, hey, we were a club band called Open Fire. Uh-huh. They were like, hey, we got your Open Fire CD that you sent us. We're going to change your name to Aftermath. But what they didn't realize is when they gave us this new name and logo and outlook, they didn't realize that there was a thrash band from Chicago that was also called Aftermath.
Right, because I've seen that.
But they were dormant and broken up and dormant at that time period. But, you know, eventually after about a year after the album came out, they were back together. And when we got dropped by the label, Joey was like, you know what? They gave us the name. Another band that records albums has the name. You know, we need to change it up. And then he came up with Fool's Faith, and we did the one album together. And then I decided to step away, and they actually did another album with John Gallicano on lead guitar, who is the bass player for Wild America today. But you know, I wasn't crazy about the name change. I wasn't crazy about the direction. It's a very good record. It's a very good record, but you know, Joey was sampling with some different sounds. You know, prolific guitar solos were not included in the mix, and I agree. That's not the most important part of music. Music's about good songwriting and melodies. That's what people go to shows for, and a great show, not to just hear guys ripping guitar solos. That's not the priority, but I felt like, you know, some of my best work was just getting chopped to the studio floor. And I said, you know what? Seems like the direction you're going, and you don't really need a lead guitar player. I mean, I like writing songs with you, but I just didn't dig the direction. So I actually did not play. I quit right at the end of 2006, beginning of 2007, and I did not play guitar. I did not play guitar for 5.5 years.
Wow.
I was raising my kids and just being a daddy, and then one day Joey called me. He had a gig in New York, and Gallicano had stepped down, had left the band, and he said, "Hey, you want to come back to Fool's Faith?" And I did, and we started playing clubs again, heavy. And then when I found John Kivel, probably just through social media, that was probably around 2016. I sent him some demos. And he really liked them. But first thing we both said is, we got to change this damn name, because I never liked it, and we didn't think it was marketable enough. Although we did have a following in New England, or maybe the tri-state metropolitan area. But I think the album, the theme, the artwork, all the marketable goods have been upgraded and improved vastly with the name change, and it's a different band. You know, that band had Andrew Caden on keyboards, who does play on the album, but did not want to be part of a touring thing. And our old drummer Mark Chandler is no longer with the band, and of course Gallicano is the bass player now. So it is a different group. It's really just me and Joey are the guys that have been there from the beginning. So we wanted a fresh start with a back to arena rock sound like the Aftermath album was. The Aftermath album was an 80s arena rock sound. We wanted to go back to that sound, but even scaled down more. You know, not too polished. You know, all the good musicianship, good, easy to remember hooks and good melodies, and just good arena hard rock. Keep it simple.
Right.
And so that's why this has been a fresh start for myself, Joe, and the guys.
Now, you guys just recently played New England Rock Fest. What was that like? Any cool stories you want to share?
A lot of good. It was a great time, great crowd, lots of fun. John Kivel puts together a top-notch. Anytime he puts anything together, it's always a top-notch event. He took care of us. We got to stay in sweet hotels. We had great fans. We sold tons of merchandise. Where people from, you go on stage and there's over 300 people there, and they're from, 20 different states.
That's awesome.
That flew in. And you had 2 nights of that straight. So, Tora and the Bullet Boys put on great shows. Of course, Tango Down's one of his national acts, and they were fantastic as always. And Steel City's got a new album coming out. They were fantastic with their new singer Roy Cappy of Cold Sweat fame, and also into a band called The Fifth. Their leader Mike Flores is a great guy and a great songwriter, and all the Kibble acts did great. It was just an overall great weekend. And everybody seemed to enjoy themselves. We had a great time. And a lot of the guys at the bands were all very close. So all getting to fly in and meet each other. And when we haven't seen each other in months, it's like we pick up right where we left off. We had a great time, hanging out in the hotel, having a few cocktails, of course. And we all had a great time together.
Yeah, one of these years I gotta get out there and check that out. I wanted to go this year, but with all the moving plans and stuff like that, I'm not wasn't able to. But maybe next year. I mean, all the bands you listed, I love those bands. I mean, I had Mike Floros on the show from Steel City, and that guy's such a talent and a great guy.
Great guy, good friend. Mike's a close friend of mine.
Yeah,
close friend of mine.
I love chatting with him. He's really cool. He's a good guy and very talented songwriter and guitar player.
Oh boy, is he ever? And I tell you what, if the world had more people in it like Mike Flores, it'd be a better place. That's for sure.
Sure would.
That's for sure.
Sure would. Besides Wild America, you also have a band called Stairway to Halen. Like, that's the best of both worlds if you're a classic rock fan. I mean, you got Zeppelin and Van Halen. How'd you come up with that idea?
I have no idea. I was probably, driving around one day and working in the car, and I was just, I love those two bands, and I don't know. And you know what? No one else has that name, so we copyrighted it. It's no one. When I Googled it, no one else came. It's a good idea. Now, that's a club cash grab. I'm not a guy that wants to go out and play covers in some bar for, $75.
Right.
That band puts on a pro type show, and it's got great guys in it. It's actually got Thomas Bellini, who used to be on Atlantic Records and sing with Vamp 89 through 91 before the grunge crash. And Tom's toured the world and has got vast experience. And the band is just, got great guys, great musicians in it. And, that's just like I said, that's a different animal. That puts good cash in our pockets. And, I have a good career. I feel like as a musician, I want to be paid properly for my work, but I don't do this necessarily for the money.
Right.
But it also helps me, my job and business helps me fuel our dreams, so to speak. And but that is a good way to go out and play music and get paid appropriately for it, because people don't even have to know who's in the band. When they see the logo, they know they're getting a night of Zeppelin and Halen. And you could sell that in any state, anywhere. You know what I mean? So They don't even have to know the parts that are comprised. It's just that comprise the band. They just they're going to know what they're getting as soon as they see the logo.
Right. So now you play like dual roles, right? You're like the Jimmy Page, Eddie Van Halen guitar player in this band,
you know what?
Huh?
I'll be honest with you. We always try to put on a show, but we're not putting wigs on and dressing up like Jimmy and Eddie. We're the Led Zeppelin is probably a little more sonically more 21st century, because I do try to play everything just like the record, but
right.
I will elaborate on some. I play all the Van Halen stuff as close to the record as possible. I'll elaborate a little on the Jimmy Page stuff. I'm playing Strats. I'm not playing a Les Paul, but the singer's great and the songs sound good and they're sung well, and that's the main idea. In anything you sell in life, whatever product you put out, you could be selling vacuum cleaners. If you're giving a good product, the people are going to come back for it.
Right.
And that's it. If you don't do a good job, they're not going to come back. When you get the audience in, that band draws good crowds, in the New York, Connecticut area, and if they're gonna, you're gonna bring those people in. You want them to come back. You better be good.
Mm-hmm. No, of course, I agree with you. I don't think that that you necessarily have to dress up like somebody to pay tribute to them. As long as the music's good and the singing is good, who cares? I got no problem with that. I do believe in a show, though. It's important. It's important to be dressed well and visually and putting out 100% on stage. You got to give people a show. Mm-hmm. No one wants to see somebody standing on an Oriental rug jamming. Maybe some people do, but not in our genre. In our genre, people want to be excited. They want more than just the music. Will Stairway to Halen ever play House of Blues in North Myrtle Beach?
Well, you know what? I have family in Myrtle Beach, and my daughter's down there, and I hope, I don't think Stairway to Heaven will. Wild America's mission is to travel more and hit as many states as we can. The cover thing I like to do around here, but I'll be honest, I get much more out of writing and creating music. It's a great, listen, it's great when you play a packed club and there's 350 people rocking to Halen and Zeppelin, but like the other night when there's a full house that all know your songs and are cheering to your songs, that's a different feeling.
Of course.
I'm not gonna lie.
Now, speaking of new music, is Wild America working on the next album?
We absolutely are. We actually have most of it written.
Really?
But, we'll be ready when it's time to go back in the studio to pump that out. We've got great songs. It's going to be better than the first album. But I'll tell you that. But the thing is that this album still has to run its course.
Okay.
It's selling well, but we need to keep pushing it, and we need to get out and play more because, we had a 5-month break. When we came out, the album came out, we played 11 shows in like 5 states, and then we went to Rock and Skull in Illinois, and then we came back and played with Lynch Mob at the Chance, and then Joey had to have a surgery on his vocal cords, you might have heard.
Right.
Actually, our bass player and our singer both had health issues that had to be dealt with. But Joey was out of commission, May, June, July. He just was ready, so he was out for 4 months. Mm-hmm. So that kind of put a little halt to everything, and now we're just resuming, and we want to get going. But like, for instance, there's a reason why, other than what's been stolen on YouTube, there's a reason why that we didn't put this on Spotify or digital download. You can get you can listen to those first 2 albums you were speaking about on my website. Those albums are still in print. They're still being sold by these various companies, and we're not getting anything from it. So I figured they're not paying us anymore. So I put those albums available free on my website for streaming.
Wow.
I'm BillyDiNapoliMusic.com. People could go listen to them for nothing because I figure if I'm not going to get nothing for them, I'm going to give them to the fans for free. But Wild America, we don't want to put any of that out on digital until we've exhausted as many hard copies as we can.
You're smart.
And when that happens, then it'll eventually be up digitally. And when we feel like we've exhausted that, probably in 2020, you will see sometime in 2020, you will see the next Wild America album drop for sure on Kibble Records. That's
awesome. Any shows coming up that you want to talk about?
Well, right now we're in the process of trying to book various areas, looking at festivals. We're working on it. We have a show in Connecticut in Milford at a club called Anthony D's on September 28th with another original band, New Machine, opening up for us. Mm-hmm. And so we have a show September 28th, which will be our first Connecticut show since probably the fall. We haven't played our home state in about 6 months, so we're gonna play in Connecticut September 28th, and after that you'll see other gigs. Also, we're going back to Rock and Skull in Illinois, November 1st.
Cool.
So we'll be there with a lot of bands that you know and love, and so we'll be down there. So those are right now, the September 28th in Connecticut and November 1st in Illinois is what we got. But there'll be more coming. You'll see them pop up on our Facebook site and my website. You'll start to see them pop up because we want to move the band around.
That's cool. And anybody who wants to get show info or, like you mentioned before, listen to your music or check out your videos. And also, you have a great shop on your website as well. It's BillyDiNapoliMusic.com, correct?
Correct. And, you can always follow Wild America on Facebook or me on Facebook. All 3 are intertwined. Instagram, you'll see. But, yeah, the videos are on the Wild America they're on my website and on the Wild America Facebook page. So, yeah, you can catch them pretty easily. You can see the new video Gasoline on YouTube. YouTube it, and it's a great video that we shot. Another great job by, Kibble and his the production company he hired. And so, yeah, you can catch all that. There's a bunch of Wild America stuff on YouTube as well. But the video's great. The video really came out great. And from what I hear from the boss, we're going to be doing another video shortly.
That sounds awesome. Do you know when it's going to be coming out?
I don't yet. Right now, our first order of business is to try to get with Kibble and booking agents and finish our tour schedule. Like I said, we had 11 dates in, and now it's 12 in 5 states, and we need to pump out some more shows in some more states. That's our first goal.
That's awesome. Well, Bill, thanks a lot for the chat today, man. It was great talking with you.
Oh, it was my pleasure, James. I appreciate it. Had a good time, man. Thanks for that. I appreciate all you do promoting our genre of music, and I had a good time. Thanks, man.
You're welcome, man. Let's do this again sometime, all right?
Anytime you need me, brother, you know where to find me.
All right, brother. Have a great day.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, take care.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Is anybody listening? Doesn't anybody know my name? Are you listening? I'm searching for an answer. I'm talking in my sleep. I'm trying to find that boy I knew that's buried in my dreams. I'm living in this darkness. I'm living in this hell. Your eyes are closed so you can hardly tell. Is anybody there? Does anybody care? Is anybody listening? Doesn't anybody know my name? Are you listening? I'm hiding from my demons. They find me in my sleep. But maybe I can't run from all these secrets that I keep. I'm cut off from my conscience. It's gone without a trace. If you don't hear my cries, you'll see my face. Is anybody there? Does anybody care? Is anybody listening? Doesn't anybody know my name? Are you listening? Is anybody there? Does anybody care? Is anybody listening? Doesn't anybody know my name? Are you listening? Doesn't everybody feel my pain? Are you listening? Is it